Hello and welcome to the Royal Horticultural Society's Chelsea Flower Show 2026, an event supported by Range Rover.
It's fantastic to be back in the grounds of the Royal Hospital Chelsea on the banks of the River Thames. And this morning, the final preparations were being made before the gates were opened to the greatest display of garden design and floral excellence on earth.
There's a wide range of gardens here this year, with designs inspired by Japan, the hills of Provence, and even as far away as the Australian outback, which is where Rachel and I are right now. Now, I have to confess, Rachel, that this, for me, is challenging in all kinds of ways, but all of them good.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, there are very few plants I can put a name to here.
Well, you're one up on me.
Kangaroo paw.
Yeah,
I think.
I could do that one, but my very few I can count on the fingers of one hand.
Yeah.
Unlike you, I have been to Australia a number of times, and I've seen a lot of these plants sort of in the outback and around, but I've never seen them used like this in a garden. And I have to confess, I look at this, you and I popped in here yesterday, didn't we? And we're admiring it. Coming back, I'm admiring it even more. I think it's really interesting and beautifully done.
Beautifully done.
Yeah.
I also think that it's good for us to broaden our range. I mean, we have, most of us, a very sort of tight number of plants that we know and we can refer to and use all the time. But this is making us think again, and perhaps we're going to have to do that more and more.
I think so. And the amazing thing is, apparently this has been relocated to, I think it's Kensington Palace Gardens, is it?
London.
In London. So all of these are reckoned to survive and thrive in London.
We shall see. I have to say, this is absolutely beautiful. I think this sets the scene for the whole garden.
This is the nicest pergola I've seen, which of course is based on a railway carriage, because the idea of this garden is a railway journey that takes you across Australia. It's a lovely garden.
It is lovely.
Yeah, it's really good.
The acacias as well.
Yeah.
I like those too. Well, coming up tonight, from dramatic landscapes to secluded spaces, we'll be taking a first look at some of the finished show gardens, including that of Chelsea's most decorated designer, the one and only Sarah Everly.
With around 80 world-class exhibits to enjoy, Carol Klein is celebrating the diversity of horticulture and expertise in the Great Pavilion.
And I'll be talking to our very own Francis Tophill and Alan Titchmarsh about their experience of working alongside His Majesty the King and Sir David Beckham on Francis's curious garden.
But now, as Chelsea 2026 got underway this morning, there was a real buzz across the showground as the world's media and some famous faces got their first look at the show.
We always like to come and just have a nosy, take inspiration, say we're going to do that in our garden, and then never doing it.
It's not a tradition of ours until about 4 years ago, so it's an enormous treat. It's wonderful.
Chelsea, well, it's the Olympics of shrubbery, isn't it? My own garden, it's very close to the sea. We have salt storms. So basically half the trees are brown one side and green the other side.
We split our garden between my wife's garden, where I sit and wonder what all the flowers are, because I've no idea, and then my bit, which is in the woodland, where I cut down trees and chip wood.
I love nature and I love gardening. And I love seeing what other people do. In the time that I've been coming, it's become much more aware of ecology and much more aware of wildlife.
I mean, May and June, apart from the weedy, you can just sit back and love it. As the alliums come up, the wisteria's just passing, the peonies are coming out, and the roses. I mean, this is a great time of year.
I have a garden. I love gardening. I don't think the garden loves me as much. I do give it a go.
Well, I'm a big fan of irises and natural grasses. So I like less gardening, which means less weeding for me.
I love my garden. I'm in it every day. That's all I do is garden.
Never been to Chelsea, and I've decided to say yes to a vocational thing because I was born and brought up just literally about on the other side of the river.
Chelsea is the embodiment of our love affair with nature and with gardening, and we need nature for our mental, joyous well-being.
One of the first large show gardens I wanted to explore is this one, the Tate Britain Garden, designed by Tom Stuart Smith. Now, Tom is a long-standing friend and designer here of show gardens, and he has a style, also with brilliance. But this completely upends what you might expect to see from him. It's partly to do with the choice of plants, which are sort of varied, exotic, beautifully laid out. The spread of plants here, which is both exact in every point and yet full of richness and variety, but also the rill. I love a rill. But this snakes down with a kind of finesse and delicacy, which then leads you to a sculpture. Now, this is a Barbara Hepworth. This is the real thing. You don't get many of those to the pound in a show garden. So the whole thing is very, very different. Tom, well done. I love it. I love it. Nice to see you. But I have to sort of say, what's going on here? What are you up to?
Well, it's been a fascinating exercise, because this is in many ways what you might call a retrofit, in that the whole of this is designed for Tate Britain on Millbank, and was designed, sort of a year ago, and then we've taken elements from it and reconfigured them into a garden that fits for Chelsea. So it's a curious sort of show garden in a way. Because it's really about being a civic space, and clearly you can't make a civic space in a space that's 22 metres by 10.
I mean, but also your choice of plants.
The final garden will be in this incredible microclimate on the Thames, virtually frost-free, quite dry, very, very hot in summer, and we should kind of in a way point the way to the sort of plants that we're going to be growing in Britain in the next 20, 30, 50 years. So, a lot of the plants are not going to be familiar to people. I mean, people are going to be these cycads and think, what is that about?
I mean, obviously, not living in London, whenever I come to London, I notice the planting is changing.
Yeah.
I see things like the wonderful Melianthus, which I can't get to flower in my garden.
And just up the road from here, when I parked my car this morning, there's an 8-metre avocado growing out of somebody's basement. I mean, this is the world we're in now, and we have to wake up and acknowledge that, and actually seize the opportunity that it presents as gardeners.
What I love about it is that you are not repeating tropes that have been enormously successful for you. You've won every gold medal, you've won Best in Show, you've been there, you've done it, but you're doing something different.
Well, that's very nice of you to say that, Monty. I mean, sometimes I do feel there are certain aspects of the same old. I mean, I see the Saruma, which I used 2 years ago, but that's partly because we had designed the Tate Garden, and therefore we had to use the materials we had in the Tate Garden here. So there's a kind of honesty to that, which I like.
Well, it's wonderful. Thanks very much for being here. Of course, it's not just outside in the show gardens that Chelsea celebrates the very best of horticultural excellence. Inside the Great Pavilion, there is a whole world of wonderful things to discover, as Carol Klein has been finding out.
I can hardly believe my eyes. These orchids are just exquisite. They're magical. They're glorious, and they're so diverse. There's every kind of colour and shape and form. The great majority of the orchids on this stand are epiphytic. Epiphytic just means perching from the Greek, and that's exactly what they do. Up high in the trees, they perch along the branches, and all that they receive is pure rainwater. It may wash a few minerals down too, and yet they survive. They don't just survive, they thrive beautifully. And you can spend precious moments just gazing into their beautiful faces and admiring their glorious colours, patterns and shapes. I feel like writing an ode to an orchid. about this for a spectacular smorgasbord of succulents. It's just glorious. Look what we've got. We've got aeoniums from the Canary Islands. We've got echeverias from South America. We've even got spiky aloes from South Africa. In fact, we've got the whole world in a bowl. Japan is home to some of the most exquisite and revered plants on Earth, like these wonderful bonsai azaleas. Some of those here are over a century old. And finally, this exciting stand from a British nursery, inspired by a Cornish hedge. I think it's just amazing that here in the British Isles, because of our temperate climate, we have the privilege of growing plants from all over the world. Here, a cornus from China, and over here, look at this. This lovely Japanese acer in this bright limey green. But even that vivid colour can't hide from sight the blazing inferno of this Embothrium coccineum, the Chilean firebush. Well, how lucky we are to be able to grow plants from every corner of the world.
The large show gardens are built in just 3 weeks, which is remarkable given the staggering level of technical ambition of some of the designs. Well, one of the most challenging builds has been that of the Lady Garden Foundation, Silent No More Garden, as Sophie discovered.
Quite tense as the crane is here. It's really heavy, this piece that they're fitting. It's like doing a massive jigsaw puzzle. That looked quite nerve-wracking, Darren. What was going on?
Well, we're craning in 3 separate pieces that bolt together to join and create one structure in the garden. It's one chance and there isn't a plan B. Big relief now. The process works. We've just got to repeat it once more and we're out of the woods.
It's an unbelievably intense process, creating these gardens in such a short time. This one, tell us about it.
It's for a charity called the Lady Garden Foundation. They promote awareness around the 5 gynecological cancers. I wanted to create a wonderful garden that encouraged conversation and understand that this is a really important topic that both men and women should care about.
And the garden itself, what are we going to see in a few weeks' time?
So you're going to walk into a space that becomes slightly secluded, and the idea is it's a more intimate space where some of these conversations are quite private. I'm hoping that we can get this right so that from the front of the garden through to the back half, we're going to fade from sort of pale pinks into more vibrant pinks and then deeper purples and then sort of softer tones right in the back part of the garden.
And there's water, yep.
Yeah, so this central tank fills up with water, it drains out to the front, but also from a tiny little spout inside, we see water trickling all the way through the garden in both directions.
How are you feeling at this stage in the project?
Yes, it's really hard, but this has to be my favourite place in the country.
Well, good luck with the rest of it, and I look forward to seeing it progress.
Thank you, Sophie.
What a difference a week makes. Look at this. It's really coming along. You've got all the landscaping at the moment, isn't it? A bit of planting. When are you going to do that?
This afternoon, we will start dotting out big shrubs. Not sure where everything's going yet, so I'll probably be really annoying with the team and trying different bits. We're at that transition where it starts to move from a building site to a garden.
I think I'm going to get a glimpse of some other wonderful sculptures. I think they just arrived, didn't they?
Yeah. So I've been working with a fantastic artist, Hannah Hartwell, who's made 4 out of 5 beautiful sculptures that sit within the garden.
It's like Christmas, this, isn't it? Unwrapping the presents. Whoa, that's lovely.
The cavities are like the safe space, and if you think about female organs, it's a safe place.
Yeah.
And then you've got damage on the outside of some, which kind of describes the invasion of cancer.
We looked at the mutation of cancer cells as well, and the sort of how, although the cell regenerates, it's started to get distortions and anomalies.
I can't wait to see
Good.
these in place. And,
Excellent.
Congratulations, both of you.
Well,
Thank
let's hope we go for gold, eh?
We've already got it.
I've got the gold. We've got the gold.
You've already got gold. It looks absolutely fantastic. Talk me through what you're trying to achieve with the planting.
The word that I kept coming back to was gentle, something that made you relax and take a deep breath. As you get into the garden, there's lovely little moments. We space the plants out a bit more, and there's far more shade at the back of the garden, so that's kind of different style of planting altogether.
You've got a lot on here, Jane, haven't you? How long does it take just to do even an area like this?
This will be today, and I probably won't finish it.
Really?
Yeah.
Just this small space?
Oh, totally, yeah.
I love as the sun comes around now. You get the real sense of how the light is going to change what you're planting.
Absolutely, and I also think get the shadows
Yes,
on the
just
wall
looking,
as
yeah,
well,
beautiful.
which is so pretty, that movement that you get there and where it changes so quickly. I really wanted to keep this height difference between the canopies and the lower levels so that we can see that detail on the wall.
The landscaping is very hard, isn't it? So you wanted to contrast that.
It is, but that's what's really exciting, is that sort of contrast between hard and distinct rough edges and then this sort of fragility of the planting, which is what I really get excited by.
Are you feeling stressed at all, though? Are you calm?
Yeah, there's huge stress because it's on my shoulders. We haven't got enough plants. I mean, we've got hundreds of plants.
Look at all those plants. Why haven't you got enough?
You look at these plants, which are all fantastic, and you can never find the actual one you want, or you want everything that everyone else has got and not what you've got.
So what are you going to do?
I think I'm going to jump in a van this afternoon and go down to Surrey and hunt for more things. So, yeah, there's little moments where we just need like these bits of magic.
Well, I'm going to leave you to go in search of your moments of magic. And here is the finished garden, and I must say, as soon as you step into it, you become aware of a change of atmosphere, very special. There's a path that's beautifully made, takes you into the garden. It's quite wide in this section, and then it begins to narrow down as you walk through. And there's a rill cutting along it, very slender, like a snake, just moving through the garden. At the back, you've got these monumental evergreens, and they really set the scene. They're a perfect backdrop. And again, as you walk through, the planting begins to change. You get a little bit more colour. Things like the geranium, the iris, and the poppies, they really begin to shine. It's somewhere that then takes you to this enclosure in the middle. This feels like arms wrapping around you, and a space in which you could be private, you could have a conversation. It's very special indeed. Darren, I very much get the sense that you've poured your heart and soul into this garden. Why was it important to take this on?
I think, well, first of all, I think everybody pours their heart and soul into Chelsea, and it's what makes it such an amazing show. For me, it was a huge honour to be approached by Lady Garden Foundation, and I've got two lovely daughters, a wife and mother and sister and loads of goddaughters, and I knew that it was important that I serve them and help shed a light that men can be a part of this conversation as well, both through listening and for advocating if necessary, or just not being bashful about having conversation around the gynecological cancers. And then Lady Garden had said, we want a beautiful garden, and I think the gardens that I've done previously, I think they're beautiful, but they've probably been slightly harder than this, and so we really wanted to create a gentle garden, yes. And I think we have. I think you have, absolutely. Thank you.
And although it was a difficult build, I mean, you had a lot to do with getting these structures into place. You've now surrounded them with the most beautiful sculptures which represent each of the 5 gynecological cancers.
Yeah.
And a sublime planting palette.
Oh, thank you. Well, the planting, I kind of knew right from the start that I wanted to use these glaucous coloured foliage plants, and I had this idea about moving from pinks into soft reds and purples, which we've probably blended that more than I'd originally imagined. But that came quite early, and the idea of trying to find a way of stirring conversation around the 5 gynae cancers. I worked with a brilliant artist called Hannah Hartwell to develop this sort of shape that we've used 5 different materials, clay and alabaster and bronze, and there's a wooden one by an artist called Anthony Bryant. So there's a lot of thought's gone into every little detail.
Well, I think that really shows. It's such a considered space, and I love it. Congratulations,
and
good luck for the medals.
Thank you very much.
All week, Adam Frost is going to be looking at some of the very best design ideas from the show that you can take away as inspiration at home. And tonight, he's exploring different ways to incorporate water into your garden.
One of the reasons I love coming to the Chelsea Flower Show, because it is packed out with ideas that I get to share with you. So this week, we are going back to basics. If you're new to design, or you just maybe fancy giving the garden a revamp or adding a little detail, we're going to start off with something that I think in some format every garden should have, and that is water. The first thing to work out is why are you adding water to the garden and what do you want from it? Is it sound, movement, a moment of calm, a reflective surface? Do you want to collect water, bring wildlife into the garden? Once you've nailed that, then is it going to be modern, traditional? Even your water butt does not need to be boring. Look at this. It's really simple. But first of all, it's a big focal pool. It draws you in. And then you see the water. It's just trickling down into this open tank. But also it's practical. It's collecting from a gutter. You imagine your home office, your greenhouse. You're dropping it into an open tank. You plant that up. Not only have you got something beautiful, but it's practical as well. The next thing, your feature needs to feel like it belongs to your garden. What I mean by that, if you're full of straight, strong lines, that should drive that feature. But if it's soft, romantic, like this, it feels natural. But also, how's it going to engage you? Is it going to be an element of surprise? Or like here, you have to cross this little stream, so you slow down. You have a moment. You've got the sound of water, it starts quickly. It slows, you slow, and then it arrives in this sort of perfect natural pool, which is full of great habitat. Even if you haven't got a lot of space in your garden, think about the verticals, whether it's a wall, an old fence. Look at that. Water coming down, but also how you affect the movement. Here it hits bars, which changes the interest. In reality, if you've only got enough space to put a bird bath viewed from a kitchen window, I promise you it will change the way you engage with your garden.
It's often the gardens at Chelsea that have the most immediate visual effect on visitors. But here in the Great Pavilion, some of the exhibits are so ambitious that they literally stop you in your tracks. Just look at this incredible display by She Grows Veg. Now, they don't let me into the Great Pavilion as much as I would like. I'm often out in the gardens, but I have to say it's always a treat when I do. And this display is as dramatic as any I've ever seen in here. As you can see, it's a table groaning with produce, all of it edible, obviously, because it's a banquet, but all of it grown by seed by the company. And what a brilliant way to display your wares. Rather than doing the obvious thing, which maybe would be packets of seeds, it's enticing you on the end product. And just about every fruit and vegetable you can imagine are grown here and can be grown in your garden. There is nothing here that you couldn't grow in this country, even though a lot of it is actually not so much exclusive and rarefied, but specialized varieties, because these are all heritage seeds. And the whole point about heritage seeds is that they preserve varieties that otherwise will go out of fashion, will go out of production, because they're not necessarily so financially viable. And it was only until after the Second World War that seeds began to drift away. These local seeds, local varieties, some of them very specialized indeed, which were delicious, have gone. And now they're coming back, and that's incredibly exciting. And not just to celebrate the past, but to see a display like this, which is so brilliantly done and so enticing and mouth-watering, is really exciting. You don't have to be a gardener. You don't have to know anything about how to grow them, but you see this and absolutely you want to try them. You want to grow them. So if this makes people take to growing a really exciting, good produce, then it's worked. And if it then goes on to get a wonderful medal, well, so much the better. But I think this is one of the best things I've seen in this year's show here in the pavilion.
Another equally impressive exhibit this year is this one by Architectural Plants, and it is magnificent, right in the centre of the Great Pavilion. And at each of these four corners, you've got these Trachycarpus fortunei. It's pretty much the only palm that's reliably hardy in the UK, and look how magnificent they are. They really fill the space. Right in the centre, we've got this cloud-pruned yew, absolutely beautiful. And it's a technique called niwaki, a Japanese technique of clipping that takes many, many years to develop. And you get these lovely sort of soft pads of greenery. It's very satisfying to look at and to feel. And this particular specimen, 40 years old. So if you want to create something like this, you have to get cracking.
Hello, found you. Found you here.
And I think this is your kind of display.
Well, I love the formality and the fullness of it, but you know, that lushness is something that has evolved. We take it for granted now, that people want it in their gardens. But I remember this particular company, visiting them 35 years ago, and things then were much more formal in a geometric way. And at Chelsea, you know, it was almost like a mini Versailles.
Yes.
Well, this is not Versailles.
This is not Versailles. You've got the formality, but then all of this
No, and I
fantastic...
love it. I mean, this fullness and the greenness.
Exactly.
And of course, the great thing about the pavilion is you will find something. There will be something here that exactly chimes with your interests.
Yes, rather a lot of things, I think. Well, still to come tonight on the RHS Chelsea Flower Show 2026, an event supported by Range Rover. The much anticipated annual visit from the royal family.
Plus, as legendary designer Sarah Eberly returns to Chelsea for the first time since 2022, we'll discover what's inspired that return.
And we revel in the beauty of one of the most stunning displays of late spring as we explore the allium fields of the Netherlands.
But first, plantsman, garden designer Jamie Butterworth, who was my collaborator with the dog garden last year, has been exploring the key planting styles that are emerging at the show this year. Tonight, he's revealing how designers are embracing naturalistic planting, but aren't letting things run too wild.
Naturalistic planting is a style of planting where essentially designers try to copy Mother Nature, looking at planting communities and how plants would naturally grow together to create an authentic style that emulates the natural world, but is very much deliberate and intentional. It's a really hard style of planting to achieve. You wouldn't necessarily think of naturalistic planting in a shady environment, But Plant Heritage have done it so beautifully over here in this woodland dappled-like corner. You've got the shade being cast from this beautiful Acer campestri, and then underneath it we've got a tapestry of foliage with just the odd speckle of Phyllicterum and foxglove. One thing the designer's done brilliantly is the use of layering, using 3 big, bald plants from this osmunda coming down to the hosta and then down to the regersia to create this layering that brings you down into the lower planting at the front. And here on the trestle garden, Rob Hardy's also gone with a naturalistic style planting, but in full sun conditions. And this planting, it's bright, it's colourful, it's bold, it's sumptuous. It all melds together beautifully. This is Discampsia cespitosa, which is often the plant you'd think of when you think of naturalistic planting. But what Rob's done here is created a naturalistic feel to the garden, emulating what nature does best, but with herbaceous perennials like this Salvia caradonna, the cirsiums here holding it together, then the peters, and then just the odd little poppy. And it looks like it's self-sown into the border, and that's what naturalistic planting's all about. And on this side, we're really into full sun with this composition of bright, fiery reds and oranges, but planted in a very naturalistic style. We have the spires of the verbascum poking up through. We have these beautiful, flamboyant, clump-forming Irish Germanicas that love these sunny conditions. This is a border that looks great now and is going to get better and better and better. This style of planting makes me inconceivably happy.
One of the most striking late spring flowers is the allium. And nowhere is the display more beautiful than at the internationally renowned nursery of Dutch growers, W.S. Vermenhoven. As every year, their fields turn a magnificent pink and purple. They produce show-stopping alliums on a vast scale. And when we caught up with them, they were preparing to bring them to Chelsea.
You're on the west part of Holland. We have glass houses and we also have some outside fields, and that's also 2 hectares of alliums. We have about 70 different varieties of alliums, different height, different sizes, different colors, different flowering time. Every year we grow over 1 million allium bulbs. I'm Mark Wormenhoven and the 5th generation in alliums. It started in 1885. It started from grandfather to my father, and now I'm here. My father is still around, still doing some jobs now and then.
In 2019, we had a small discussion about, for Chelsea as well, to have the flowers ready. And I said some of them, they were planted too late, it was too cold, and we're not going to make it. And he said, oh yeah, it's going to make it. And he was right. I said, it's a good time for me to step back. Yeah, I'm very proud of him.
The life cycle of the bulb. So we plant the mother bulb in autumn, and then as soon as we harvest them, they multiply, they make baby bulbs. And we separate those baby bulbs in autumn, and that takes another 3 years before they will be a good quality bulb, but we can sell again. And the machinery what we use these days saves a lot of time, so we can shift the good quality bulbs easily from the young bulbs. So I'm trying to be independent, no solar panels and no gas, my own water supply. 62 solar panels we have on the roof, what we use for the cold storage, sorting machine, cubic lifter. Some growing tips about alliums. Planting time is in the autumn, from late September till late November. Just plant them in well-drained soil, just sandy soil, something like that. If you don't have sandy soil, just plant them with some grit, some stones. Planting depth is about 2.5 to 3 times the size of the bulbs. They like the full sun, but they also grow in partial shade. Some of the varieties, they even grow in full shade. As soon as they've been finished, then best thing to do is to deadhead them. But as long as you don't let them make seed heads, all the energy, all the goodness goes back into the bulb will increase, and you will get the same size flower you had the first year. We're on the flower fields at the moment. Of course, we have many bulbs, so we can select the best ones. I'm looking for thick stems, nice, good size flower heads, and then they will be at their perfect conditions next week. Here we are with Allium Chicago. I'm quite pleased. I see some stems are bent. I'd rather not have them bent, but we have closed quite a lot of them, so I can pick the nice straight ones. Here we are in the greenhouse with the lovely Allium. They're ready for Chelsea. Nice height of them, nice size flowers. And we cut them later today to get them in the cold storage. And next week they will be available to see at Chelsea Flower Show. In the cold storage right now we have about 4,000 flowers. Some of them are ready for Chelsea who already are in this cold storage. Some of them, of the flowers, are in there for already a couple of weeks, and some of them just been cut yesterday, and today we cut them as well. They come from the greenhouse or the fields straight into our cold storage. This year we are bringing 3 new varieties, 2 of the medium or smaller size headed ones. I think they are getting more popular.
3 new ones?
3 new ones, the Magic, the Chicago and the New York.
Big names, but small flowers.
Yeah, but they're nice small flowers, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, nice color as well, this one.
Different color, different shape, different size. So the Chicago and the New York are smaller headed sizes ones, good for windy gardens or suitable in front of the garden, rockery gardens. And they're also half shaped, so they're different shape as well, with nice colors. I have 2 young boys. If they like it, they can come into the business and start working and maybe taking over one day. Chelsea is coming soon, and we're almost ready for it. 38 years already, but always excited. We have already 20 gold medals and hope to add 1 more this year.
Mark, it's so good to see you back at Chelsea, and your display is looking perfection, absolutely beautiful. I know it's a lot involved in coming here, so what keeps you coming back to Chelsea?
The comments from the visitors who really like it. They are always keen gardeners, so they're always interested in your product, and that's what is most important for us. Like people who know their stuff and know what they're talking about and interested in new varieties or different varieties or help or planting tips. That's where we're here for.
Well, you've got some new varieties here. Can you tell me which ones they are?
Yeah, we brought 3 new varieties this year to Chelsea. We have the Allium Magic, Allium Chicago and Allium New York. They're lovely, nice, small flowering headed ones as we call them. Not too tall, medium-sized flower heads or small flowering heads as well. Different shapes, and some of them are even scented.
Scent is a great thing. How wonderful. And I love these smaller ones because they work really well in a container. But how else do you recommend growing them in the garden?
So containers for the little ones, yeah, that's suitable, definitely. Growing tips, just good well-drained soil. After flowering time, just deadhead them. If you really like the deadheads, just cut them at the base. Dry them as a cut flower. All the goodness goes back into the bulb, and then you have a nice flower for the following year.
For the next year. So they just go on and on. I absolutely love growing alliums in my garden, I must say. This is spectacular, so congratulations on another beautiful display. We'll see you again next year?
Definitely. Thank you.
4 years ago, Chelsea's most awarded designer, Sarah Eberle, said she was retiring from creating gardens here at the show. But she's been tempted back by a cause that's extremely close to her heart. And we recently joined her in the Hampshire countryside to find out more.
The countryside for me is really special. It's a place I feel at home. I feel safe. It's a sanctuary for me. I'm a real country girl. I was born in the West Country and grew up on the fringes of a town, and I was one of those wild children. I was allowed out from breakfast time till the evening. This was our playground, the fringes of the town, and we used to climb trees in the woodland and make dens. And for me, it's just completely embedded in my psyche of who I am. It's a real soul thing for me. This year I've come back to Chelsea to do a garden called On the Edge, and it deals with the fringe lands of towns and cities that are under so much threat. I'm working with the Campaign to Protect Rural England, who are a charity that champion the countryside.
The government have got this huge target, actually, but a really important target to restore 30% of the land, so it's delivering for nature by 2030. And if we're going to do that, sites like this can play their part, I think.
Absolutely, and these edgelands, they're so important for everyday life for communities.
Yeah. About 85% of the population live in towns and cities in the country. So places like this, it is their countryside. And we can think about the countryside as a place we go on holiday to. But actually the countryside that means the most to people is the countryside on their doorstep. It's the most precious to people, but it's also the most vulnerable.
These areas are so important for both plant communities and people communities, and maintaining the health of both and allowing people to benefit from that and for nature to recover as well.
Yeah, developers favour greenfield development sites, and one of the things we really advocate for is for the development of brownfield sites, so sites in our towns and cities that have already been used, looking for a new purpose. Let's start there. There's room for 1.4 million, nearly all of the government's housing target on brownfield sites.
So although the garden is very simple in its layout, it centres around the most amazing, I guess you would call it land art. There's a fallen tree which has been carved and manipulated with stonework as well. Into the figure of Mother Nature, Gaia is traditionally her name, and it seems to me to be so fitting to use this image of the protection of nature. We have 3 artisans. We have Chris Wood, who's a chainsaw artist. We have Tom Hare, ironically doing the hair of Gaia, and he weaves willow. And also Lydia Noble, who's a 5th generation stonemason. So I think Gaia will surprise us all, including me. You can see she has these trees around her, almost a pillow, a cushion of plants. So as we've been looking at her head here, her body, with her point of her hip, which is the stone arch, where you walk underneath. And then the hair continues over the stone wall, step into this community space. And then 2 big multi-stem hawthorns, which I think are very mythical. I love them. So the garden is very informal, it's very naturalistic. The idea is you feel very immersed in nature, and so she's in it. She's not just sitting on top of everything.
I want her to portray peace and serenity in the garden. Hopefully she'll communicate that to people. The timber we're making her out of is giant sequoia, which is giant redwood. Most of it came from arboretums and stuff in the UK.
To create a more hedgerow kind of feel, I'm going to introduce some saplings. We've been trimming back some sycamore, some brash. That's got some lovely lichens on it. So it'll feel kind of that it has a life of its own.
So we're building the walls in the garden, and it's going to join into the woodwork that Chris is doing and marry together really nicely. Part of the wall that we're doing is built around this steel structure. It creates its own challenges, but it's going to really create an impressive archway to create a nice path in the garden.
The challenges for Chelsea this year, I mean, there are always challenges when you're at Chelsea. It wouldn't be Chelsea otherwise, but this year there are several. There is the scale. The sculpture is enormous. It's coming together in 3 pieces on site. And then working with other creatives. It is a joy, but it is giving away elements of control. And I think most designers at Chelsea like to feel they're in control. This is my 20th return to Chelsea. I kind of resigned at the last garden I did. I was brought back by the potential of this project, you know, to work on a subject that's so important to me. Do I think this will be my last Chelsea? Well, never say never.
And here is the finished garden. And it is exceptionally beautiful. And what I really like about it is the way it takes simplicity and expands that out without ever losing that essence of the countryside as a place full of familiar plants, but beautifully set together. And there used to be a phase that you often saw at show gardens sort of 5-10 years ago of recreating a natural landscape, often brilliantly done, but not really a garden. And what Sarah has done is take the elements of the British countryside that she so loves and turn them into a garden without the garden losing that sense of domesticity and yet without the plants losing the sense of wilderness. And of course, we're talking about the planting here, but dominating the front of the garden is the sleeping figure of Gaia, carved from a redwood and a huge head in the front, lying with the eyes closed, a body coming round, and then the tail sweeping up through here and coming up over a stone bridge. And under the bridge, we have a water feature and a circular sort of open communal space. And Sarah.
Hello, Monty.
Sarah, I'm so glad that you did decide to come back to Chelsea, because I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
There's lots of really lovely things.
Thank
but
you.
first of all, what made you? Why? Having won so much and achieved so much, why would you put yourself through it all again?
Well, CPRE approached me and
Yeah.
their message is so important to me that I just had to say yes. You know, I really like to believe in the subject matter, otherwise they don't become genuine.
And just let's look at that message again. What is the core message of this?
The core message is about the vulnerability of fringe lands on our towns and cities, whether they're green belts or not. They tend to get eradicated by inappropriate building, by fly tipping, but they are the first touchstones of nature for people who live in towns and cities. And there's so much potential there.
I mean, what you've taken is all those elements and plants, but it is a garden.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So for me it's a sanctuary, but it's a sanctuary for nature and it's a sanctuary for people, because I do believe that nature offers that sanctuary and that's really important.
We talk a lot about, people talk about going into nature and there's this thing out there. Is it something that we can incorporate fully in our gardens, or do we need to go out into the countryside?
I think there's something for both, and I think gardens are perhaps the last opportunity for that private sanctuary where you can turn your phone off. You know, you can be fully alone.
Yeah.
And for me, nature is so healing. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, my whole psyche is based in nature. And I think the difference between a good garden and a great garden is how it makes you feel. So that sense of, it's a sort of soothing, and you go there to heal. And we can do that in our gardens, and we can respect nature while we do it.
We have to talk about the sculpture.
Yes.
I mean, it is incredibly dramatic.
Yes.
Was that your idea to bring
Yes,
that in?
I think, you know, for me, because it's Gaia, who is Mother Nature, it's a symbol of the caring for nature and for that protector. So for me, I think all Chelsea gardens need a big wow.
Yeah.
And I thought this was an opportunity.
It's a big wow, Sarah.
Yeah.
It's a good one. No, it's wonderful because it stops people in their tracks.
Yes.
And then they start to delve into the garden.
Yeah. I mean, it takes 6 to 10 seconds for somebody to walk past a garden. You've got to stop them, bring them in, and then you can engage
But
them.
you see, that's all your experience showing. That's the master craft person applying itself to the garden. I'm sure everybody's going to love it. I hope they get the message, because it's an important one, as you say, that we look after our countryside, but at the same time incorporate it into our gardens. And I'm sure you're past caring about what medal you get or anything like that, but
You never past caring.
No, you're not.
You never, you know, maybe it just knocks the edge off, but that's all.
well, good luck. It's lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monty.
I'm on the RHS and the King's Foundation Curious Garden, designed by none other than our lovely Francis Tophill, in collaboration with His Majesty the King, Sir David Beckham and Alan Titchmarsh. Well, Francis and Alan are with me now, and My goodness, Frances, what a day it's been already. What's the response from people coming to see it?
Generally really lovely. You know, when we were planting it as well, I had my head down in a border with high vis on and just you can earwig what people are saying about it. Generally, people like seeing veg, which is great for me. I love veg. You know, we've got it all in amongst the flowers. It's a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of people, you know, I'm not used to it. I'm used to having the mucky hands that I've got, but it's lovely.
But Alan, you've been here to give Frances support and sort of work in a very collaborative way. So how has that been for you? How
I've done very little other than be at the end of the phone and meeting up now and again saying, look, it's fine. So I feel like young Mr. Grace, you know, you're all doing very well, but she is such a good friend. It's been wonderful working with Frances since she started doing TV. And the talent, you can see, this is Frances, this is nobody else. A couple of friends, you know, Katie from Love Your Garden as well, but it's just, she's hugely talented and she'll get embarrassed if I carry on.
No, I know she will.
Also, he's not right. He has been on the end of the phone many times, full of loads of advice and that kind of experience of having done this before and working with the RHS and the King's Foundation before. It's been lovely having Alan here, and also providing lots of little bits of bric-a-brac for the curious.
I've cleared out my potting shed. It's all in there.
It's all in here. It's all come to
When you
Chelsea.
move out, you clear out. It's in here.
So Frances, tell me a bit about the planting, because that absolutely sings to me. Favourite plants?
This garden is about plants. I know it's got a very big building. That's because it's going on to be an outdoor classroom for Farnborough College, but this is all about plants. So we have flowery cottage gardening with veg. There's a rain garden in the back here, and then as you move along, there's herbs. So I've got so many different herbs. The idea is it's a botanist's garden, so there's so many different interesting species. We've got a really rare lavender Buchii var Buchii, that's from Jekka. Also, there's a critically endangered edible called oyster leaf, which is right on the front. There's Alice Artindale delphinium in the middle here. There's only 12 of them in existence, and we've got 3, which is a little bit scary because I can't lose them. But it's about showcasing how important plants are globally, you know, not just in gardens. We've got a dye bed and there's linseed, so I'm growing all the things kind of about fashion and fibres and textiles and medicine, and then trying to show all of that in the Museum of Curiosity.
Well, the hope is that people will see this as a career path. I mean, Frances and I love it. We have loved gardening. Yeah. You can be a designer, you can be a scientist, you can be a botanist, you can be a tree surgeon, you can be a groundsman. It's all to do with practically making the planet and our little patch of islands better. And if this enthuses younger people to say, do you know, I'd quite like to do that for a living. Yeah, you get a bit wet and a bit cold on days like this. It's the best job on earth in Earth.
It certainly is, isn't it? And I know that one of the things caught my eye, the roses on here. You've got the King's Rose, you've got a rose for Alan Titchmarsh. David Beckham, I feel we need a Frances Top.
I think it's after this year, it's a must. Yeah.
Well, I hope mine's a bit of a hedge climbing, sprawly, natural-looking thing.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
it'll have a very relaxed decoration.
Very relaxed, maybe a little unruly.
And you've got the Royal Tour later on. Yes. How are you feeling about that?
Slightly nervous. What I feel like is that there's a big responsibility to get this right. You know, for the RHS and the King's Foundation and everybody who's been involved in the project.
We had a meeting with the King at Highgrove, and she went down a storm. It was amazing. David and I sat and let her tell.
Just let her do it.
Yes, let her run. Afterwards,
she said,
I
came going, did I talk too much?
No, she was fab. I mean, as you can see, she's engaging, she's enthusiastic. Who couldn't like it?
Well, I just think it's the most incredible garden. It's a triumph, Frances. Thank you. Well, earlier today, Their Majesties the King and Queen paid their annual visit to RHS Chelsea, and Sophie joined the royal party just to see what caught their eye.
The King and Queen are arriving here at the Chelsea Flower Show, as they do every year. But this year has a special twist because the King has been involved in the creation of the RHS and King's Foundation Curious Garden. And he's about to see it for the first time. Inside this garden, in the Museum of Curiosities, Sir David Beckham, Alan Titchmarsh, the King and Queen, all discussing the garden that they have worked together to create with Frances Tophill. What did the King say to you?
He said it was everything that he had expected and hoped for, which is pretty amazing. But you know him well. What do you think?
I mean, it was quite genuine. The Queen particularly liked it because she said, "This is my kind of garden."
Did she say that?
She did.
I didn't hear her say that.
Oh,
That's
you've worked so hard. Next on the King's tour of the Chelsea Flower Show is the On the Edge garden, designed by Sarah Eberly, and it has in it this absolutely fantastic sculpture. The King is being introduced to Chris Wood, the man who sculpted this extraordinary piece of work using a chainsaw. Chris,
yes.
What was that like, meeting the King?
I met him before, about 15 years ago. My business was started by the Prince's Trust.
How was that?
That was brilliant. It was a lovely opportunity to show the garden off, and it appeared he appreciated it, which is lovely. We all know that he loves nature.
A wonderful moment as the King spots Dame Judi Dench among the crowd. The King and Queen have been here on the showground for more than an hour now, and his final stop is right here, our very own Arit Anderson's garden that she's created for Parkinson's UK. And the Queen is already enjoying it. How do you feel now? This is the big hurdle you've done now, haven't you? The royal visit.
Yeah, the royal visit. I mean, obviously you hope the royals will come through and, be able to sort of see the work that you've done. And so to have, both, like I said, the King and the Queen come through it's great for the charity. What we wanted to do is to raise more awareness, and hopefully, their visit will validate that.
Congratulations, well done.
Well, of course, the royal visit was incredibly important, but the King came to see his own garden. The gardener King came to see a garden at the best garden show.
Yes, I always think of him as our gardener King, because he really does love it with a passion. So
yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Yes. Changing the tone, but I think it's important to acknowledge the death of Nigel Dunnett, who was, won gold medals here at Chelsea. I had the privilege of visiting him in his own garden at home. And he was just someone that we all knew and respected and liked, and it's a great sorrow,
yes.
really.
I was very lucky to meet him at the Olympic Park in 2012, and he just designed this most beautiful, sort of sparkling colours, and very informal, all for pollinators. It was wonderful. And he was a great educator.
Yeah, he
passed that on.
No, I mean, he was an academic and made real contribution and changes, and he's sorely missed. That's it for tonight. Rachel and I will be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock on BBC Two, when we will be revealing the winner of the RHS Chelsea Garden of the Year.
And we'll be answering your gardening questions, so please do get in touch. We love hearing from you. Send them in via the hashtag AskBBCChelsea.
And don't forget that Nikki and Angelica will be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock on BBC One for the first look at the all-important medal results.
And they'll also be inspiring you to garden to help nature flourish.
And we'll see you tomorrow. So until then, bye-bye.
Good night.